now the recording has been started, and as I told you, all the lectures and all the recitations will be recorded in this room. Just a couple of points before starting. The first one is that I'm allowed to remove my mask for teaching activities. The second point is that remember to sit properly in your seats. And the third point is that I remember you that the presence in this room is allowed with the Green Pass. So for any point related to the Green Pass, refer to the communications that you received from the school. Once again, welcome to Politecnico di Milano. Welcome to this lecture. I'm Luigi DeNardo, and I'm the professor of materials for food packaging. Today we're going to have a brief introduction about the course scope, how the course is organized, which are the main points that you have to keep in mind in following the class and at the same time in order to pass the examination. All the information will be published on WeBeep. I remember you, for the people that are novel in Politecnico di Milano, the official channel to share information with the students related to the course is WeBeep. For the students that have a track at Politecnico di Milano, remember that starting from this year, the Beep channel has been deleted, and now we are shifting everything on WeBeep. So take care about this point, that is an important point. Okay, I'm Professor Luigi DeNardo. My room is in Via Mancinelli 7. That is 10 blocks from here in the direction of Via Accademia. And it's like 1 kilometer from Piazza Leonardo da Vinci. This is my email. That is the official touch point with me. So for any question related to the course, for any clarifications that you need, everything, you can write on this email. Please respect the weekend and holidays, because I have family, as some of you, I have friends, as some of you, and I enjoy my weekends, okay? So please respect the weekends and the holidays, okay? So do not expect an answer Saturday and Sunday, okay? The class hours is not correctly scheduled here. I don't know why. I modified yesterday, and well, there is an error here. By the way, the official time is from 11:30 to 1 o'clock in this room, and from 10:30 to 12 in room 2.1.5, okay? I will modify this on my Beep profile. There will be also a teacher assistant that is now connected via WebEx in order to assist me for all the problems that today we experience. But actually, Andrea will be in this room to follow some the recitations that we're going to have. Monday is in general dedicated to lectures, while Tuesday is dedicated to recitations, okay? He has a WebEx room that you can access also through the service online, because he's an official TA of this class. In WeBeep, I will publish also the official calendar. Well, the lectures are pretty much all set. And you can follow here the official calendar, the syllabus of the course. Remember that the 1st of November, that is Monday, will be vacation in Italy. For non-Italian students, Monday, 1st of November is official vacation in Italy. And also the Sant'Ambrogio Day, that is the CT Day, that is the 7th of December, will be off, and will be off also the 6th of December. Okay, so remember these dates because we are going not to have lectures. I'm going to talk about the week 14 because I'm setting us a pre-examination date, and I will explain you in details this point in a while, okay? So a large part of the lectures has been given by myself, and occasionally there will be Andrea supporting me for some activities in the room and for some recitation in the room. As I told you before, I'm going to share with you all the documents that I'm producing for this classroom. So you're going to have all the slides and all the recordings. But I strongly suggest you a couple of points. The first one is that I'm suggesting you 2 books. The first one, that is Food Packaging Principles and Practice, is a kind of Bible for food packaging, okay? So you can easily access it from the web, and I strongly suggest you to get a copy of it. You will find useful both for follow my lectures, but at the same time you will find also useful for the assignment that I'm going to propose you to pass the examination, okay? So it's a very fundamental book for us, and I strongly suggest you to start to be confident in using bibliographic references because they are a part of the way you can learn something as a master student, okay? Remember that you are going to shift from your bachelor degree to a master degree, and now there will be more place for you to go in depth in the problem by using bibliographic references. So do not base your knowledge of this course just based on my lectures. There is also a second book that is available through the bibliothèque, the virtual library of Politecnico di Milano, and is packaging technology. From this book, I will get some points that you can easily understand once we evolve with the book. Okay. What you are more concerned about? Slides. I will provide you all the lectures that will be uploaded every week on Weebip channel. So if you access, please. I'm hold, as you can, if you look at me, so. Okay, so, well, the first book you can get on, I don't know, how may I stop the recording? Start with the recordings. Okay, there are official ways to get the book on all the main providers of books, so that's a quite diffuse book. You can also have like used copies, hard copies, etc. Okay. I guess there is also like a Telegram group of this food engineering, so you can connect to it. I'm not connected, so you can say everything about me. But You can also ask to your colleague of the last year, because a large part of them got the book, so you can ask them how they get. Well, that's an important point. So there will be slides for all the lectures. So for all the theoretical part, I will upload all the slides, and you can find all the main relevant information, the slides that I'm using for teaching. But there will be no slides for practicals. And the reason is because I'm going to use the chalk and the blackboard, okay? So the practicals will be basically based on two ways. The first one is blackboard and chalk, and the second one is practicals in the room. So we are going to ask you to bring some package and to do some experience in the room. Just for the Italian-speaking people, there is a quite good textbook that is the book of Professor Pier Giovanni. Professor Pier Giovanni is a retired professor of Statale, and he is one of the first professors studying packaging in Italy back in the 70s. And there is this book that, at some extent, is inspired by the book of Professor Gordon. So if you need a textbook in Italian that facilitates you to study, you can also access this book, okay? You can find hard copies, used hard copies in the main stores in Milano. Okay, how you're going to pass the exam? I'll give you these, like a few rules. There are like 10 pages of rules, but I prefer to introduce my course just giving you the rules, because if we share and accept both parts, the rules, everything will go smooth, okay? So there are not so much rules. I just ask you to be respectful of your colleagues, of your work, and of my work. And about the examination, there are a few simple rules that I would like to share with you in advance, so you know which will be your death. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to give you a group of assignments, and they will be proposed to be solved by groups of max 2 people. It's up to you. You can decide to solve the assignment by yourself or with a companion, okay? It is not necessary that, as we are going to see, the oral examination will be given by both the students at the same time. But since the evaluation, the first part of the evaluation is based on a development of the assignment, I'm going to ask you that the first student that will give the examination will be the date at which you have to give the assignment to me. By the way, I will propose you 10 different assignments, and you're going to pick one according to your code person. We're going to discuss this tomorrow, if there is any ethical problem with the problems that I'm giving you, or if you have a specific interest in another problem, we can manage it. But grossly, let me say that all the problems are equivalent, okay? And the problem will be dedicated to understand how to package a food matrix. So you are going to start by studying the food matrix, understanding which are the main packaging processes that you can put in place, and you are going to select the materials and eventually propose a final solution for the package. So this will help you to get confident why the modern food industry is using specific materials for specific applications. So a group of assignments will be proposed. Tomorrow we are going to start to discuss them, and I will give you the overall structure for developing the assignment. There will be some revisions. If you go back to the calendar, you now can notice that there will be an assignment discussion here, pretty much mid of semester, and there will be an assignment discussion here at the end of the semester. So take the chance to discuss the assignment with me or with the TA in order to figure out if your general approach and your specific development of the problem is correct. I will give you also the possibility. Last year, it was easier online. This year, we have to manage in person, but I will give you also the possibility to revise the assignment a couple of weeks before the official date of examination, okay? In general, I prefer to have open discussion with groups of students because the problem of one is in general the problem of a significant group of students. By the way, the final examination will be structured in this way, and you are going to get the grades according to these weights. You will be asked to submit the assignment, so it's a written report of what you did in a structured way that I'm going to present you tomorrow, but it's a written report. And it is something in between 10 to 15 pages. If you are 2 people, usually you arrive at 20 pages maximum. But we are going to enter in detail tomorrow about this point. So the submission of the assignment is 1 week before the date of examination. As you know, there are 7 dates of examination along the academic year. So 2 in January, February, 2 in June, July, and 1 in September. There are 5. No, there are 5. But it is quite difficult to do not pass this examination in the sense that you arrive with a written assignment that gives you 50% of the grade, okay? So I expect that once you sit, you will be prepared. And this year, just 3 out of 75 students didn't pass the examination. For this reason, I ask you to sit once you are prepared, okay? So you have 5 different dates to sit. Please take the seat once you are prepared. I'm used also to set along the year 2 or 3 more dates a part of the official to pass the examination. One is before Christmas vacation, so the winter vacation. And as I brought you, it's in between 21, 22, 23 of December. We're going to set a pre-examination date in which you can, 1 week before, submit the assignment and then have the examination. Usually, I do one in the middle of, in between February and June. I give you 1 or 2 possibilities of do the examination. But I remember you that you need to enroll in an official date in order to have the transcript of the official grade, okay? So there will be what we call evento generico open, So there will be a date in which you can enroll to do the examination out of the 5 official dates. And but in order to transcript of the final grade, you need to be enrolled in the official date. Okay, so by the way, the final examination is divided basically in 3 parts, 4, let's say. There will be the submission of the assignment. So the assignment is a written report about packaging orange juice, okay? And at the end of the day, you need to tell me how you're going to pack this orange juice. And everything is written. There is also some calculations that you can upload as an annex. Usually, there will be a folder for upload the assignment in Weebip, okay? And 1 week before the date that you decide to give the examination, you upload the assignment. The day of the examination, you will be asked to discuss your assignment, and in order to discuss your assignment, I ask you to prepare a PowerPoint presentation. The PowerPoint presentation should be uploaded 2 days before the official examination date. Pardon, the examination that you selected. This will give you pretty much the 30% of the grade. So this means that 80% of the grade, so 24 maximum, is given you by what you did at home and what you are going to present with this PowerPoint presentation. So you can easily understand that there is no reason to do not pass the examination, okay? During the examination date, there will be the discussion of the assignment that is based on your PowerPoint presentation. Usually it takes like 20, 25 minutes, plus some questions related to the assignment. I read the assignment and I will ask you some question of clarification. And there will be also the 20% of the grade. So if you need to get more than 24, there will be an oral question and answer about the theory that I'm going to teach you. This year, since the school asked us to push forward the activities that we do in the room, in order to let you also to develop some points in a practical way, we are going to have 2 practicals that will be developed in class and evaluated as homework via peer-to-peer evaluation. We are going to explain you in details, but basically in 2 of the days of the practicals, you are going to ask to develop some activities in the room, and by the end of the week, you are going to upload a small homework based on that, and a colleague of you will evaluate your homework, and this will give you the 10%, so 3 points of the final grade. All these aspects will be discussed in a question and answer moment of theory. So usually the examination lasts 1 hour pretty much, okay? So it's an oral examination. Remember that I started last year when we were online, but I keep continuing to do it also in during once we were in person. The examination will be recorded and streamed. So you can follow all the examination in streaming via WebEx. Okay, is there any question? As you have seen, 4 pages of rules, very simple. No small words written. Everything is clear? That's a pact in between you and me. This is the way you follow the examination, the course, you give the examination, you pass the class, okay? Yeah, it's the 10% overall, so it's 50% of my questions. Will be 50% of my question. So it's 3 points out of 6, pretty much. Well, I'm not so bureaucratic, okay? So I'm not just using, but it's just to give you an idea on how I'm compose finally my final mark. Take the time to have questions. I mean, it's important that I'm going to clarify everything today. Obviously, I'm open for clarification. Also, these rules will be published today. So they will be written. And as I told you, that's a pact between you and me that we have both to respect, okay? Is there any question? Ok. Se non ci sono domande. Okay, if there is no question, as I told you before, by the way, if you have any question, you can send me an email. One point. From time to time, I open the blog on the Weebip, and if there is a question that is relevant, I will copy the question without the name of the student, but I will just get the question, and I will put on the blog, and I will answer to all the students based on that question. Because basically, in a large part of the cases, some of the questions that you have can be helpful for your colleague. That's also an important point for my lecture. If you have any doubt, if you have any question related to what I'm explaining, please stop me and ask me to repeat what I'm explaining, okay? From time to time, it is important for me also to have a feedback from your side in order to understand if I am clear enough, if I'm running fast, or if I'm too slow in explaining some concept, etc. Okay? Remember also that in this room, you are from different backgrounds. So for some specific concept, I need to level the main knowledge that you have. And so from time to time, you will find something boring because of your background. So in this case, please be patient, because things will be complicated in a while, okay? Okay, so we give us the rules. We give us a tentative calendar, and everything now is set to start. But what is the main scope of this course, and why you are seated here? I have two small kids, two small daughters, Lucrezia and Carola. You will learn from time to time of my daughters, because I spend a large part of my training activity in teaching to explain them some concept in order to be sure that I'm clear enough. And one of the problems that they have is that they really have no idea where the food comes from. Because if you think about the modern food industry, the large part of the food will arrive to the final consumer in a packaged form. So packaging is a pervasive instrument that is present in the modern food industry. Think of one of your favorite food that you have in mind, and probably it is packed in a specific way. In some cases, and we're going to learn, the packaging system that has been selected, it has not properly selected. And the scope of this course is to understand how to select materials and to select the packaging solution in order to get the correct packaging of my food. But the result is that a large part of the kids and a large part of us has no idea where the food is coming from, because you see the food package. The first time that I was in Hawaii, it was like 10 years ago, pretty much. And I was visiting a plantation of ananas. I entered the plantation of ananas, and I asked, where are the trees? And they watched at me and asked, no, there is no tree. The ananas are there. And it was plenty of ananas. It was like something, wow, okay? And actually, I had no idea, because the only way that I have seen ananas was in a canned stuff. This perception of the food through the packaging is an important part of the story that is actually not covered by these lectures. What we are going to cover in this lecture is understanding why you are going to select a specific materials and a specific technical solution to pack that food. In order to do so, since you have different backgrounds and a large part of you, there are some food technologists in this room, but a large part of you has no idea about the food matrix. A part of this course will also give you some instruments to understand what you are going to pack, and which are the main requirements that this food matrix will ask to your pack in order to better perform in doing its job. So the reason why you see these pieces of meat packed this way is because they represent a technical solution that solves some of the problems that we are going to understand are associated with meat. In this course, we are not going to develop all the possible food matrix that we have to pack in order to understand how to pack them. And that's the reason why I'm asking you to develop an assignment. Because during the assignment, you can get familiar with the main problems and requirements of the food for a specific food. But you can easily transfer this knowledge to other foods. And so what we are going to learn is a general approach to solve a problem. You will ask to solve a specific problem, but the way you will solve that specific problem will help you to understand how all the problems are solved. In the book of Robertson, you will find that the second section is dedicated to different foods. This part will not be covered by this course, but it can be useful for you also in the future. Okay, let me ask you, and please shake your hands and give me a feedback. Let me ask you, what do you think about the packaging. So if you think about the food packaging, what is your first idea that you have about the food packaging? Please. Pardon?
Plastic in different forms, but generally, when I think about food packaging, I think about...
Okay, so the first thing that your colleague said is that if I think about food packaging, I think about plastics. We are going to see that is partially true. Plastic is a material. We are going to see the different materials that packaging is composed, and why we are going to use why the food industry uses different plastic materials to package food. But that's true. There is a strict correlation between materials and food packaging. What do you think more about food packaging? Please. Yeah, you are tackling two different points. Your colleague said that he's thinking about safety and protection. We are going to see that protection is one of the functions that we have to study, and it will set us some requirement. And safety is a general concept that we have to apply to food packaging, especially in the case of plastic ones, because we're going to learn that there are migration problems. And you have to guarantee the safety of the product that you are going to package. But it is important, this point, because if you look at the history, the last 10 years, 100 years of history of modern food industry, you will find that the safety of the product is constantly increased, and we are going to see why this has been largely based on the use of packaging. Some couple of more points, I guess. Pardon? Okay, so he's saying that if you look at this picture, packaging is something that conveys some information. The first information is what is inside. We're going to see that the transparency is an important factor, but in some cases you have to avoid the transparency because you have to preserve your food from the effect of electromagnetic irradiation on your food. If I heard correctly, you say that it gives you information about the product, okay? That is based on the label, etichetta. Sorry, from time to time I will translate some words from Italian to English and vice versa to let some students to better understand. That's true, and we are going to see that it is important, the labeling of the product, because you convey some information that are mandatory according to national laws, but at the same time, it's a way to recognize the product, because in a large part of the cases, you are confident about who is producing the product. I select a product because it is produced by a specific company, and I'm confident that the way they produce this product convey me quality, safety, some cases freshness, etc. Okay, no one said me that packaging is garbage. That's a good starting point. But eventually, we're going to learn that packaging will be a garbage. And as an engineer, you have to take care about the end of life of your product. And we're going to understand how to balance this aspect. Okay, let's move on a little bit. There is another important point. That's a picture taken from my microwave with my two daughters. Sometimes we watch movies, and we love to eat popcorns. And especially during the pandemic, it was a way to mitigate the stress of some situation, closed in house with two small kids. My wife is a doctor, so she spent a large part of her time outside, and so we have to enjoy our staying at home. The point is that that's a packaging, but it seems like a simple packaging, okay? Just a brown bag of paper. But actually, in some cases, in order to ameliorate the distribution of the heating that you have to transfer from the microwave to your popcorn in order to your corn in order to let it pop, is based on coupling a material that is a susceptor that react to the microwave and let the corn, to heat up and let them to pop. So what we are also going to learn is that once we select the materials that we are going to select is not just based on what you are thinking are the function of the packaging, but it will also based on the final use. And in some cases, you also need to convey some convenience to your product. Easy to heat or prepare some food. So what we are going to see is that the packaging is evolving from the mere function of containment towards more complex functions that are preservation, but also convenience. And this means that the way you are going to select the materials and the way you are going to select the specific packaging solution has evolved in a significant way. Well, none of you said me that packaging is an unnecessary cost. None of you said me that packaging is garbage. So that's a good starting point because you can now appreciate the importance of the packaging. And what I try to explain in this course is that packaging is the very heart of the modern food industry. Because in modern food industry, there is no product without packaging. And in some cases, the solution, as we're going to see, are possible because you have a specific package. Can you provide me an example? Do you think something that will not exist without packaging? Is there something that can exist without packaging? Well, vegetables, you can buy the vegetables without packaging, actually. If you go to like a farmer's market, you have pardon? Medicine. Oh, to some extent you have to preserve the medicine, but think about food packaging. Well, that's an important point. Sorry, I'll give you the floor, but that's an important point. The principles that we are going to see in this course are just focused on food packaging, okay? So what I will, that's dedicated largely to food engineers, but also chemical engineers and other students are welcome in this room. But we are going to be focused on food. But actually, some of the principles that I'm going to explain can be useful for different sectors. Please. Coffee? Which kind of coffee? Yeah. One example is coffee capsules. Okay? That's a packaging system that convey convenience. So you use the packaging not just as a packaging system, but also as a way to prepare the food. Coffee exists, but the product of coffee capsules allow to spread the use of espresso all around the world. When I was a student and I was in the United States, back 15 years ago, I was in my PhD student, so I was a student 20 years ago. By the way, when I was in the United States 15 years ago, to have a good espresso was not so easy. Now you can get espresso everywhere, okay? Also at your home with your machine. Soft drinks. If you think about carbonated soft drinks, of course, the fact that you have a bottle that allows you to, or a can that allows you to maintain constant, pretty much constant, the internal pressure of the CO2, and we're going to see how to do the calculation to do it. Well, it allows you to get soft drinks that are stable in terms of the CO2 partial pressure inside the bottle. Another example.
Long preservation meal.
Well, long preservation meal. Yeah. No one of you thought about whipped cream, for instance. A panna montata. If you have a bottle of whipped cream, it doesn't exist without it, the packaging system that has been designed, okay? So you look at that unnecessary cost, but we have to learn how to balance the cost of packaging, that obviously is a cost, with what your colleague said, that is really important, how we extend the shelf life of the product. And this will be a part of this course. Okay, if you look at an historical point of view, the history of humanity started by one of the technical problems that we have to learn to solve, that is food containment. The first function of food packaging is containing food. And if you look at the primitive packaging, leaves, jars, also animal skins were used as a way to contain food. The first lecture, the first official lecture next week will be dedicated to the different function of food. Okay, and I will give you in a structured way the different functions of food. But you can easily understand that the main function of a package is to transport food, contain and transport food. And if you look at the evolution of the history of packaging, today we're going to use a plethora of different solutions that are possible because we do have different materials that allows you to, different materials that allow you to solve specific problems that each food matrix has. In between, the ancient, the past of the food packaging, so just the function of containment, and the modern way we design packaging, so how I can keep constant the level of CO2 in my bottle of champagne, how I can keep constant the level of CO2 in my bottle, in my bottle of Coke, or how can I keep constant the internal atmosphere of a package of fresh leaves? Well, all these problems in the meanwhile has been solved coupling not just the problem of finding the right material to contain the food, but also coupling the technology that you are going to use to prepare and process this food and the material that you are going to use. So what we are going also to learn in this course is that today we do have a different packaging solution, not just because you have to take care about the interaction in between the food and the packaging material, but you have also to take into account the interaction in between the processing of the food that allows you to get the final product. And this becomes evident to one of the points that is suggesting your colleague. Are you aware about this guy? Who is this guy? He is Monsieur Appert. Bon. Who is Monsieur Appert? Okay, he did for the first time the appertization, or appertizzazione, how your colleague said. What is appertization? Pardon? It's similar to pasteurization. So it means that you are processing food in order to lower the microbial content, actually eliminate a large part of the microbial content, and extend the shelf life. So why this guy is important? Because basically, during one of his campaigns, Napoleon launched a kind of contest, okay? He was launching the campaign against Russia, and he needed food for his troop to be brought from France to Russia, allowing its army to get food that was enough, safe, and that can be consumed. At that time, it was pretty much impossible to transport fresh food from one place to another without spoiling the food. And so he launched this kind of contest in which we said, I put here a bunch of money if someone is able to find a way to package the food, not just to transport it, so just not for solve the problem of containment, but also to maintain the quality of the food along the entire campaign. This person studied for the first time a process that allows to can fresh food, process at high temperature in a canned package, and then keep maintaining the quality and the safety of the food. But why it was possible to do it? Because basically, he was able to couple the processing of food. We know that if we cook the food, we eliminate a large part of microorganisms. At that time, it was not so clear. Actually, Professor Pasteur followed some of the work that Appert did. But we know that if we process the food at a correct temperature, we can eliminate a large part of microorganisms. And we also know, but at that time was not so clear, that if we seal in a proper way a system, microorganisms cannot enter inside the food. sealed food. And it was possible because at that time, some technologies were emerging. So it was possible to process metals, to process glass jars, and to close in a proper way the food that has been processed. Before this point of the history, the real function in extending the shelf life of the food was not clear. From this time point on, a different part of the story has been opened. So what is important that we learn from this story is that once we select the materials, as I told you before, we have to take into account different aspects. Not just the food that we are packaging, but also the way we process it. And the fact that you have seen a plethora of different solutions starting from this point on is dependent on the fact that also processing started. So keep in mind this point that will be a kind of way to understand why this course can be important for you. An important aspect that you have to keep in mind is that if you look at the gross national product of each country, pretty much 2% of this national product is based on the use of packaging. Production, distribution, use. That's a huge number, okay? This means that 2% of all what is produced in terms of economic value in a country is related to the packaging. And 50% of it is used in food packaging. There are other sectors in which packaging is relevant. One has been suggested by your colleague, that is the drug sector, but is not so large, the drug sector, even if it's demanding from a technical point of view. There is industrial packaging, as we are going to see for some solution. There is the package for cosmetics, that is an important sector here in Italy. And we're going to see how to apply some of the general concepts that we are going to learn also to other sectors. But think about the fact that the modern consumer marketing will be virtually impossible without packaging. So packaging is important for a technical point of view, but is important also for an economic point of view. Well, let me give us some definition about what is packaging. At this point, we can introduce some simple definitions. And one of the most common accepted definition is the definition developed by Lockhart that say that packaging is a socio-scientific discipline that operates in society to ensure the delivery of goods to the ultimate consumer. In our case, the goods are the food of those goods in the best condition intended for their use. So the main function is deliver the food to the final consumer. But what is interesting about this definition is that it is a socio-scientific discipline. Don't forget, anytime that you are selecting a technical solution that has something to share with food, you are directly conveying some cultural and social aspects in your selection. Everything that we are going to learn is not neutral from a point of view of what you will be asked to do as a professional. And every kind of your choice will impact from a socio-cultural way. And that's interesting because, well, starting the next week, we're going to enter in technical aspect. And that will be the part that I will stress you. But do not forget that all the technical aspect will let you, at the end of the day, to make a choice. And this choice will impact the way the food is perceived. And the food is something that conveys some social, economic, and cultural aspect that you have to take into account. Remember also that packaging is a common name that is used in different industrial sectors to both indicate the activity of packaging, so the processes that are used to do the packaging of the food in our case, and at the same time, the container that provides the protection, the preservation, and the handling of the product. We are going to see, well, actually, in this course, we're not learn too much about the packaging activity because the different packaging processes are quite complex and you need an entire course to learn them. But what will be focused is on the container. Okay, so for us, the packaging will be the package that we design and the materials that we select to do the package to contain, protect, and preserve your food. Just a matter of clarification, starting tomorrow, we're going to start by speaking about the package, the packaging, and the packing, okay? So if you would like to better understand this concept, and actually just to give you the importance of using the correct way to use the naming in packaging sector, there is a standard, an ASTM standard that has been developed. Tomorrow, during the introduction of the assignment, I'm going also to introduce you some instruments that can be useful to develop the assignment. One of those instruments is basically based on accessing the standards. I don't know how familiar are you with the standards, but tomorrow I will introduce to the standards. And the American Standard Association for Testing and Materials actually developed a specific standard for the naming of the packaging. And the first lecture of next week will be dedicated in order to understand the function of the packaging, but at the same time, the way packaging technician calls the different aspects. Okay, the last idea that I would like to pass you to convince you today about the importance of the packaging is the fact that if you look at the last 200 years of the way the food has been bought, basically you can notice that there has been a shift from a bulk transport and distribution and then access to the food to a more individually packed food product. Well, in some cases, we're going to see that for some technical solution, you can still keep accepting this kind of approach. But some of the products that has been developed by the modern industry, think about fresh leaves of lettuce, for instance. Well, in those cases, the fact that you have an individual package is not just a matter of simplifying the portioning of the product, but it is mostly related to the fact that you modify the atmosphere inside that package in order to extend the shelf life and allow an extension, a significant extension of the shelf life of the product. So what we are going to see is that the modern food industry moved from packaging goods at the point of sale, like in the upper picture, to packaging at the point of production. This course will be largely dedicated to this second part, how the package is processed and how the food is packaged at the point of production. And this is possible today because we have seen there are novel materials and there are novel packaging processes. The food has a different journey. The example that your colleague gave us before about the coffee capsule is the example of a completely different journey of your food product. A capsule is produced in Trieste by a company and is consumed in China. And you have to guarantee the quality, the same quality in Trieste and in Shanghai. It's a way as well of differentiation of the products. And we're going to learn it's mostly a problem of safety. And these are the main purpose of packaging that we are going to learn. Another important point that we have to keep in mind is that we will dedicate this course to the industrial food packaging. And at the same time, you have to keep in mind that what we are going to learn is that you cannot generally apply a packaging solution to all the possible food that you have in front of you. The reason why we do have, for different foods, different kind of technical solution of packaging is related to the fact that each one of those food has a specific requirement set that we are going to study. But keep in mind that if you are packing the same food, like in this case, also in this case, maybe the packaging can be affected by the way you consume the food. It doesn't make any sense to have in a local market the same packaging that you use to produce and distribute the food across the world. So what we have to learn at the same time is that there is a requirement that depends on the food, but there is a requirement that depends also on the way you are selling the food. And so the final market of your product. International trade exports cannot be enabled by local solution, and vice versa. Best packaging market solution may not work in local market. Keep in mind this aspect. Every time that you do something, you have to ask yourself, what I'm packaging? And the second question is, for what? Who is going to use? Which is the expected shelf life? Which is the overall life of my product? And this is something that we are going to learn. Okay, so to conclude this introduction, what are the learning objectives of this course and what we are going to learn starting tomorrow? Well, at the end of this course, I expect that you will acquire the fundamental principle of food packaging design and the material selection process. So how we are going to select a material to package in a correct way a specific food for a specific use. The course will be then divided in 4 sections. The first one will be an introduction of the packaging functions. And since a large part of you have no idea about the food, I'm going to introduce also, with a brief description, the basics on composition, manufacturing processes that influence the package design and performance. So the first 3 weeks will be dedicated to packaging function, what we are going to contain, which are the main spoilage mechanism, and which are the kinetics of these processes, and how we have to deal with these kinetics. The second section will be dedicated to the material selection process. We are going to learn how to set requirements, how to solve some problems to find the material that is able to comply with some requirements, or how to optimize the material selection process in order to reach some objectives or some goals. At the same time, I will introduce also all the relevant classes of materials. We are going to see that packaging is not just plastics, it is also metals, it is also ceramics, glass, it is also paper. We are going to see the main differences in between each specific class of materials and their use in a food packaging application. The third point will be related to the technology for packaging-related food preservation. We're going to study the influence of the environment in which you package your food in preserving the shelf life of the food, and all the packaging-related, well, not all, but some of the packaging-related problems of food safety. As your colleague suggested, packaging is able to give some level of safety to your food, but at the same time, the packaging can be a source of some safety problems. And we have to understand in which sense a package can be a source of food safety problems. And at the end of the day, one of the words that I am most interested in my course that I didn't use until now, that is the overall concept of sustainability in food packaging. What we have to learn is how to balance the material selection process with the concept of sustainability. That is becoming more and more important in the food packaging sector. Okay, so the lecture will close here. Today, I give you the rules about the course, the syllabus of the course, and a brief introduction about the idea, the general idea of what we are going to learn in this course. Starting tomorrow, there will be recitation in class at 10:30, okay? And we are going to start by introducing the assignment and the structure of developing the assignment. What we are going to see is that all those points will be tackled in the assignment, in the development of the assignment. Okay, thank you for your attention, and I hope you will enroll in this course.